Beautiful. All right. So, officially back again with another one. I'm here with somebody that I've been following for the last couple of years now. Got a chance to talk a little bit through social media. Met one time in person, but honestly, we share a very similar belief in in the field that we're in with the fitness field, and I honestly admire a lot of his work. So I'm going to talk a little bit about himself.
Yep. My name is Dr. Saransh Kapoor. I also go by SK to a lot of people. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and a pro bodybuilder. And really my mission is to change the way we view physical therapy, traditional physical therapy, and really help those. That's why I work primarily with weightlifters, bodybuilders, avid gym goers who are kind of failed by the traditional medical system through pain and injuries. So that's really my mission, is to change that view and really keep people in the gym and not take them out of it.
See, that's the one thing right there. One of the main reasons why I really want to have you on, because of the stigma behind when you get injured. Oh, now I got to take time off.
Yeah.
Or I gotta sit down and I gotta rest. I gotta recover.
Right.
I can't go back to the gym again. Doctor said I can't go. So, seeing someone like you in the medical field, who's also in the fitness field, talking about what you're doing with your clientele is comforting as a personal trainer, because it's just like the amount of times I'm just thinking to myself, man, they just let themselves move. They let their bodies move, and if they let them to just not let the stiffness and the pain get to their heads and allow the body to just do what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely. I think it's so important, and that's why I preach movement as medicine, right, as a lot of us do, because it's the one thing that's gonna help everything else in your life, right? Not going to the gym, relying on the shots, relying on the quick fixes. It's only gonna get you so far. So yeah, I'm 100% in that same field.
Yeah, now you brought up a great point, especially with the shots part, because yes, I firmly do believe the shots do have a place in our field. Are they for the regular 20, 30, 40-year-old who is just having a harder time losing a couple pounds? Absolutely not. I firmly do believe that there is more health side effects that we're going to come across with people who are doing it younger and people who are taking these shots at a younger age just because they don't have the time to put the effort in towards really giving it all into their own fitness field.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a quick fix, right? And it's only going to take you so far. And if you rely on the quick fixes now, it's going to lead to harder stuff later. And again, if you're seeking out the easy way now, it's going to just be harder later. That's the same case with Ozempic, same case with cortisone shots, and all these shots to get that pain and inflammation down right away, which again, time and place for everything. I've recommended certain clients do get the cortisone shots, do get the epidurals when there is a time and place for it. But a lot of people will rely on it as okay, I'm going to get the shot, I'm good, I'm going to go back to do what I was doing, and there's really no long-term relief with that.
Seeing someone like yourself, also, you're not completely against it, which is something like myself. I'm not completely against the Ozempic, where if it's someone in their 70s and 80s and they need to lose 80 to 100 pounds, yes, obviously I'm going to recommend, you take the shot, do your best and stay active, stay physical, keep your nutrition in check, come and see me 2 to 3 times a week, and let's keep yourself right.
Right.
With the cortisone shot, that's one that personally I don't know too much in regards to, as far as I know that it's a good temporary relief, that it's not necessarily something that is. What's the fucking word I'm looking for here? It's like basically putting the Band-Aid over the gushing wound.
Yeah,
right?
It's temporary relief, but like I said, it's a steroid shot, so it decreases that inflammation for sure. And I have seen where if some people are in that 8, 9, 10 out of 10 pain level, where even if we move the right way, it's bound to just increase that pain just because of the nature of how they're moving and their pain signals and their nervous systems of fight or flight. In that case, I say go get the shot, get that initial inflammation down to maybe like a 4 or 5, something that's a little bit more workable. Then when we do the movement, and you do get a little bit increase in the pain response, it's going from a 4 to a 6, not from a 8 to a 10. Because once you're at the 10 out of 10, your body shuts down. Your body's like, I'm done. You need to stop whatever you're doing. Because again, it's a signal, right? And if we don't listen to that, then it's going to lead into even more stuff in the future. So, yeah.
So what brought you into the field, if you don't mind?
Into the physical therapy field or fitness field?
Honestly, both fields, because we have plenty of time for you to talk about both.
Of course. So the fitness field, I mean, I just got into it during the time of YouTube fitness was popping off, Hosh Twins, Matt Ogus, Chris Jones, all those names. Christian Guzman, of course. So I just fell in love with it, and I just, I saw my older brother lift weight training, and I was like, all right, let me try this. And the second I got into it, I was just like, wow, this is it. I didn't play sports growing up. I wasn't crazy about sports in general, so I was like, all right, this was my thing. And once I got into the gym, I never left, right? And it just was perfect. It was like my outlet, and it's never.
And how many years ago is that now?
Coming on 14, yeah. Started when I was 16, so I'm 30 now, so yeah, 14 years.
Oh, 95, baby?
94. I'm late birthday.
Okay, I'm late 95. So okay. I turned 30 this year.
Nice, big 30.
Yeah. Honestly, people seem like it's such a scary number, but it's just
I love it. No, it's the best. I mean,
I'd rather be in my 30s than my 20s again.
Sure, I think 30s are going to be one of the best decades. So, no, I agree. But
continue with now as far as the physical therapy route.
Yeah, so then being into fitness, just loving the space and just seeing my body change and like. It was just, everything just clicked. And then did my first competition, fell in love with that part of it, then took some time off competing because I went to college. And I was like, am I allowed to curse, by the way?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Perfect. I said, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I got no fucking...
I forgot to ask you that before.
I got no filter on here.
Okay, so. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
So I said, fuck that, because I was in college. I'm not going to compete, not going to, diet and all this shit, because I wanted to live my life. And then went to school, actually, for business and finance for college. And then I graduated with a finance degree. And I worked for about 6 months. And I was like, fuck this. This is not for me. And I knew pretty fast that it wasn't more so like, hey, I can just switch jobs and probably get into something else. I knew pretty fast the field, like I'm not doing this. Like, I just could not at that point. So I quit cold turkey. I was like, fuck this.
You know for a fact.
And at the same time, I quit my job. I didn't really have a backup plan. Again, living with my parents at the time, I had a little bit more cushion, so it was a little bit easier to do that. Quit my job, didn't really have a backup plan, but at the same time, I was unemployed. I hurt my shoulder, went to physical therapy for it, and I was like, wow, this is like something that I could 100% see myself doing. And I told the PT that too, and he's like, all right, I'll let you volunteer for, obviously for free, and you get some hours, and you see how you like it. And I did that, and I fell in love, and I was like, all right, this is it. Like, this is 100%. Because I was always into health and fitness, and I was like, I wanted to do something in that field, right? And I was like, all right, I can definitely see myself doing this. Luckily for PT school, you just need a bachelor's, and then you just need some science credits. So it's not like I had to go redo everything. So my business bachelor degree still worked, and I just had to go take a couple of science credits, which I took at Suffolk. And then in the meantime, applied to PT school. Within the next year and a half, I got in. And then 3 years later, graduated. And here we are.
Been living the life ever since.
Yeah.
So your business really is catered towards the individuals who really are one of all different spectrums. Like, you're not just stuck to one different niche. Like, your clientele is ranging from everything from bodybuilders to your average day personnel and...
I'd say more so on the side of weightlifters, gym goers, bodybuilders. Less of like your typical.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of the nature of, where I'm at inside of ProFit. It's a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of weightlifters. My online side, it's marketed mainly towards the avid gym goer, the weightlifter. Because again, I know that field, that niche is more so filled by traditional PT, right? With your average person, you can get away with going to PT and doing a couple basic stretches and exercises because their capacity was already kind of low, right? You give them some stuff that they haven't been doing, sure, they get out of pain. Even them, they still are likely failed. But I feel like the weightlifter, the average gym goer, they are really failed by traditional PT because there's no bridge between the rehab and the training. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really work with my clients, right? We could do the rehab, we could do a couple basic stretches and exercises and might get that pain down, but to get you back to training at your fullest capacity, whatever that looks like for that person, whether it's, working out 4 times a week, whether it's hiking, 6 days a week or whatever it is, there's a big gap there that we want to make sure we're bridging safely and effectively, or else you just do the same path. You do the rehab, you do some stretches, get the pain down, then you go back to the gym, boom, flare up. And then that cycle recontinues.
It's a funny story because literally, who does that remind me of? One of your patients happens to be my girlfriend.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Because I love her to death, but
Right.
yeah, she's the one that's the prime example of, like, she went through bodybuilding. She got to craziest, leanest physique, one of the densest, craziest, leanest physiques I've ever seen on a woman at her age. Also, when she was competing too.
Yeah.
And then the amount of just failed PT attempts that she went to through her old PT, giving her the same thing, the same routine, and it constantly not getting better. Versus when she went to you last year, she actually got tips. She actually got things to do on her own. She got the reality check of, like, what her situation truly is.
Yeah.
It's no sugarcoating it. It's not just like, no, this is what we can do over this amount of time, and just keep coming back, and we're going to make sure this. Like, no, that's another reason why I've always had the biggest, like, pain with.
Yeah.
The biggest beef with the PT industry in general is because of the amount of times that I've heard from my clientele, well, my PT said I can't do this, my PT said I shouldn't be doing that, and it has nothing to do with their injury, or it has nothing to do, like, you can't go to the gym at all whatsoever because you sprained your ankle.
Right.
You can't. You telling me you can't do some upper body stuff? You telling me you can't do some basic mobility stuff? You telling me you can't do some freaking yoga in certain positions and just avoiding your ankle?
Right, and that's why I cater to more of that side, because when I hurt myself, right, and this was after the whole shoulder stuff. Like, when I hurt my back, which was the worst injury, my L4, L5 herniated disc and sciatica, which again is like a large part of my clientele. When I hurt that injury, like when I had that injury, that's where I was told the same thing. Stop going to the gym, stop lifting, stop squatting, stop deadlifting, stop. I'm like, why that? Like, I'm like, so I know what it's like to be told to stop training the way you love to train. Mm-hmm. And I would never want to have that, like, tell that to my clients. I'm like saying, like, no, we're going to get you into the gym as soon as we can, but we're going to do the stuff the right way. Right? We're going to do it gradually. We're going to do it slowly. Because again, like, if I told my clients to stop training, they're gonna just look at me and, like, never come back.
See, like, you're so on point when it comes down to your ability to keep your people in check, though. Like, while they're still injured, like, making sure that they actually are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And what I see from the check-in text that you post every now and then, or your testimonies from your clientele. It's all basically the same thing, where you're putting your best foot forward, and you actually are caring about not only just their average, like, the way their body feels, but they're also their gym progress. Yeah. Like, you're caring about their actual fitness career, whether they're just a regular bodybuilder or just someone in the gym. You're still caring about, no, I still want you in the gym, just let's not do this, and let's just do the slow approach and get better this way. I personally think that's the best way for people of all ages, and doesn't matter if you're an athlete or average gym goer. Like, if you let your body move, movement is the medicine for your body to heal. The amount of times I've sprained ankles, or I've torn 6 ligaments in this ankle, I fractured this ankle, ACL's partially torn in this knee, LCL's partially torn in this knee. Body literally from head to toe has constantly gone through endless amount of injuries, spent times in casts, spent times, contemplating if I'm going to get surgery or not, if I was going to, or correction, if we could afford the surgery to even do so. Right. My family we were never able to do so. So my body never really healed the way it was, but I never stopped moving. Yeah. So my body still stayed strong. You fight through the injuries, and your body still can become more resilient towards other things too as well, if you let it be.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit more, the resiliency of the human body, where people are a little more fearful of range of motion and fearful of fearful of progressing in weight. What are some things that you could tell somebody who is really stuck in their head when it comes down to getting out their injuries, or getting back into the gym around their injuries?
Well, find someone that reinforces somewhat of those movements that you are afraid of, so that way you can get back to that specific movement or whatever it is as soon as you can. Perfect example, if you hurt yourself deadlifting, right, there's a good amount of chance that you're going to be pretty scared to get under that bar or over that bar, or if you're squatting, right, under that bar, the next time you try doing that. happened to me, happens to everyone. We have that fear just kind of around the certain exercise or certain activity that got us hurt. That doesn't mean we just completely stop squatting or stop deadlifting. Let's do some sort of variation, some sort of modification to get you back safely and break that fear kind of loop pattern in your brain, right? I think that's one of the biggest things, because that's what one of the persons that when I was rehabbing my back after 3 years of just trying to do the shit, the PT, the chiro, like random stuff, the shots, nothing worked until I sought out the right rehab. And one of the first sessions, the guy was like, all right, let's have you deadlift from a block with the kettlebell. And such a simple, the simple concept of modification and changing the exercise. But I was just like, wow, this is the first person that has reinforced that same movement that every other doctor told me to stop doing. Right? They said, stop deadlifting. They said, don't pick up stuff from the ground with your back. Like they told all this stuff, and he was like, okay, let's change all that. So the only way that was able to be broken, like all those past beliefs, was through reinforcing the movement.
It does make sense when you really think about it. If you completely stiffen up something when it's injured, like, aside from a bone, where it actually physically has to reattach itself.
Right.
If you're just dealing with aggravated muscles or partial tears, or if you're dealing with inflammation, movement to the area brings blood flow. Blood flow will help your body naturally heal itself. One of the best ways I ever helped my knees strengthen up was doing sled pulls.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the things I avoided doing so long, because I was always so like, what's the point of doing these things? Like, why am I dragging something? Like, right. I could just squat, or I could just do lunges. But then when you put the ego aside and you step back and you're like, oh, maybe there is a real benefit behind this, and then you load up your sled to like, 4, 5, 6 plates, and then you're pulling heavy weight, and it's like, well, now my entire leg is on fire, and my knees feel as strong as they ever have, and then my knees feel the strongest they ever have felt.
Yeah, I mean, what's the alternative? That's what I always say. Like, we're all withering away, we're all deteriorating in one way, shape, or form. We're all gonna die, right? We're all gonna get old, get frail, get weak. It's gonna happen one way or another. So, what's the alternative to at least try to prevent the complications that come with aging? The only thing that will help is strength training, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, working on your mobility, working on your function, all this stuff. That's the only thing that has been proven to at least prevent the negative complications that come with aging. So it's like, what's the alternative to not move?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've seen it firsthand now between my grandfather on my dad's side and my grandmother on my mom's side. Grandmother on my mom's side has been really stuck in bed for the last couple of years, and life decisions, that's where she's at right now. My grandfather's 92 years old. He spent most of his life walking around, weightlifting. He gave me my first bench, which was his old bench from the 60s and 70s, to bench press in my old house. Someone who taught me in the very beginning why you should be weight training at a younger age, and all the way up until he wasn't able to really lift as much weight as he was able more. But he's still walking around, he's still getting his activities. The man's turning 92 this year. Yeah. So it's two different versions of life, where it's just like one was catered more towards the comfort, and then when things got physically harder, well, now you can't do anything about it other than just sit in your bed. Yeah. And that's the most depressing part. That's one part of my life I never want to live by. And I love my grandmother to death. Don't get me wrong. I'll forever take care of the woman whenever I can. But that's also the prime example of what I don't want to become when I'm in my 80s or when I'm in my later parts of my life. I still want to be able to walk around. I still want to be able to change myself. I still want to be able to go downstairs. Hell, I still want to be able to play with my grandkids. So I will be lifting weights for as long as I can and doing the crazy mobility stuff that I've been doing with kettlebells, maces, and clubs, because it's all the stuff that's catered towards building up my body to be stronger, better, and also it's stuff that's going to cater towards the rest of my life, because the movements that I do, I personally see people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s still doing. Yeah. So it's something where I'm going to keep my range of motion, but also I can now teach the same things now to individuals who are like my mother now, who are realizing, who are into her mid-60s, like, okay, maybe I need to, actually weight lift. Yeah. Yeah, it's never too late to start. Like it's never like I have my client Betty Ann, who is 72 years old. I've been with her since on and off since she was 68 years old. She went 50 years without going into the gym, and that woman's fight to constantly get better, to constantly get stronger, to constantly just live life the way she really wants to live life. It's kind of hard that you need when it comes down to being in this industry. It's not always just about looking good. Yeah. It's about how can you keep your body as functionally strong as possible throughout your entire life. It's not just for the season. It's how can we keep this going until the day that you unfortunately do go 6 feet under, but hopefully that is not until you're well into your hundreds.
Right.
You know, after you lived your life, not being cut short because of your life decisions fitness-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's never too late until it is too late.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why it's so important. And the conversation always comes back to a lot of times, you know, like people our age will always start looking at the older, like your grandma or you know, whoever is like in their 80s, 90s and haven't prioritized their movement or their fitness. And you see the consequences of that and you're like, oh shit, this is important. Mm-hmm. And it clicks even harder for us, of course, but like, and then we're able to share that message through our clients even more. But I think it's using some of that like fear of like, oh shit, this could be bad, I think can be a really good fuel, right? Yeah. A really good motivator versus the motivator of, yeah, you know, I want to do this to feel good right now or look good right now. It's like, yeah, I mean, the results of what you're doing right now, it's like you're not even going to see that until like a year down the line, which is kind of shitty, especially in the bodybuilding world. But it's like, no, you're doing this more so for the longevity purpose. And you're doing this more so to just continue to plant the seeds, not so much, hey, I'm doing this today to grow my bicep a millimeter.
See, to your point also, like, you know, you got so many of these amazing bodybuilders that we watched growing up who are completely crippled now. Like, oh yeah, you look at, you know, the GOAT of everything. You look at the GOAT, like the GOAT himself. Ronnie Coleman is somebody who legitimately cannot walk without assistance, and that man was literally the God physique that any guy ever dreamed about ever having, and also the GOAT of the posing world. Like, the man literally got on a stage and he dominated the stage for so many fucking years.
Yeah.
And then in the weight room, crushed crazy numbers in the weight room also at the same time. He wasn't just a bodybuilder, he was a strongman bodybuilder at the same time.
Yeah.
Insane physique, but then now, look at where that got him now later on in his life.
It's a shame, honestly, to see that, only because I see, and it's crazy now that we're like, you know, you're about to be 30, I'm like in my 30, and we see like the younger crowd, like this 18, 19, 20, not super young, but younger than us, and they look up to people like Ronnie Coleman. I'm like, I don't think he's the guy to look up to, man. Because look at him now, right? It's like if you're aspiring to be like he is now, you're looking at the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, he set the standard. He's a fucking legend. By no means am I shitting on him, but like, obviously there was consequences of what he's done with his training. And on the flip side, if you look at some other bodybuilders like Phil Heath or Kai Green, those are if you look at their training, completely different. Mm-hmm. Phil Heath curls with 20-pound, 25-pound dumbbells. Yeah. When the guy can easily grab a 70 and curl it. Yeah. Right? But he chooses to go a little lighter and focus a little bit more on the form, focus a little bit more on the time under tempo, is not beating himself up with like 800-pound deadlifts. Which again, it's not necessarily that the movement is bad, it's just like that when the ego just continues to take over and you're just like more weight, there's going to be consequences. And it's a shame what's come from that.
It is such a shame because you got so many kids who are just falling victim to the social media trap, which is their favorite fitness influencer who is pumping themselves up with all the extra gear that they're not talking about. And they're saying that they're jacked up because they're doing X, this, that. Meanwhile, they're not talking about how many times they're taking X and this into their ass.
Oh, that's a whole nother rant.
Listen, we got time, and there's a conversation I also wanted to have on this part because, especially to the younger generation, who we knew life prior to social media.
Yeah.
they don't know life prior to social media. All they know is what life looks like on social media for the most part.
Yeah.
Very rarely are they ever able to put their phone down and get the real view of what the human body is supposed to look like.
And from a pain and injury standpoint, I see it bad too in my field, because I always say if you're trying to train like the person who's running lots of juice, you're not running lots of juice, you're bound to get injured. Because your capacity to recover is nearly not the same as theirs. Right? When you're on juice, you can train like 120%, and by the next day you're like fully recovered. That's not possible as a natural athlete.
No.
Right? So I've seen it time and time again with clients. Oh man, my shoulder's really bothering me. And again, me being in this field, the first thing I kind of go back to is like, what does your training look like right now? And what I heard, this conversation was literally last week. He's like, man, I saw this guy on Instagram. Shit, I forgot the guy's name, but he's clearly juicing. And again, I have nothing against people juicing. I work with a lot of people who do juice, and they're on that side. Nothing wrong with that, but when you portray it in a certain way and you're not honest about it, it can come off bad. But and when you're preaching certain programs or certain courses or whatever it is, it can get funky. But he was like, I tried this like crazy shoulder workout, and I looked at it. It was like running down the rack from 40 pounds to 5 pounds, lateral raises. But not just one set, 5 sets of that, 15 to 20 reps. I'm like,
what the fuck?
This is why your shoulder hurts, man. I'm like, you don't need to do anything besides stop doing programs or exercises or certain volume metrics from people who are running gear and thinking that you're going to get the same results, because it's going to be a disaster.
That's one of.
But I have countless stories like that.
That's my favorite line to hear right now. Well, this guy I follow on so and so. This guy I follow on. This the numbnut you follow is also somebody who doesn't know what the hell he's thinking about. Doesn't even know the basic concept behind what a curl is supposed to do or what a squat's supposed to do. He just knows how to do X into the shot, and then allow their bodies to.
Yeah.
The full. The thing that scares me the most, what was genuinely scaring me right now, is that you're having the youngest generation, who now is going to go falling victim to now AI and what AI bodies are going to look like. And it's like there's going to be this never-ending. Well, because we could even date back to 50s, 60s, and 70s with the way that they portray like Marilyn Monroe and everyone else over that way, like how the physiques are supposed to look. In reality, is like 90% of the human population is not going to look like any of the celebrities, or not going to look like any of your favorite influencer or your favorite fitness model. There's a reason why that also a good portion of these bodybuilders are now starting to unfortunately pass away at an earlier age.
Yeah.
The amount of gear that they're blasting is doing too much damage to their heart. And that's another conversation that's not being talked about either too much, is how many young, pristine physiques, healthiest of the healthiest personnel, are now dying because their hearts are overworked.
Yeah. Look at Rich Piana. That was his name, right? Rich Piana. Crazy big arms.
Yeah.
6-hour arm workout.
I was living when you were saying before.
That,
when you were telling me that superstar, I had him in my fucking mind.
I'm like, and again, like, there's consequences to what he did. Look at it. Obviously, R.I.P., but like, it's just crazy.
Rest in peace indeed to anybody, like, especially in the fitness field. If you lost your life due to the sheer fact of you let the steroids getting into your head and completely taking over your body and soul.
Yeah.
Somebody like that, like even I believe like one of his last videos that like they put out was not even his video, it was a video of his wife who was like genuinely like scared. I
saw that.
Like scared. Like you're scaring me right now.
That was the last video before he passed.
Yeah, and then shoot, a few days later he passed away from it. So it's like at the end of the day, when you're a younger man or a younger woman and you're really looking to go into bodybuilding or really looking to go into the fitness field, do it for the right reasons. Do it for the right reasons of, one, that you want to do this for yourself, not because you want to make your body the most elite looking version body it should ever be. Yeah. No, the reality is you should be chasing performance over elite looking. the performance of your body is what's going to help you when you're 70, 80, 90 years old and you are living either with your significant other and you guys are both at that age and you need to be able to be reliant on each other.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be stuck in the home. It's either one of those two things that you got to keep in your mind, where it's like, do you want to become the burden, or do you want to be somebody who is going to actually help out their own life throughout their entire life? And it's sad because you got more people, more and more of the younger fitness influencers who are passing away younger and who are passing away in their 20s and teens because of how much gear they're blasting, because they're chasing this impossible physique to maintain throughout their entire life. Like even somebody like Mike O'Hearn is another. It's another great one. Like he'll scream that he's natty for life.
Claims natty.
He'll scream that he's natty for life. Like dude,
He's gotta let it go.
It's gotta be a troll at this point.
That's crazy.
It's gotta be a troll at this point.
At this point, he's probably just feeding into it.
Yeah, it's gotta be a troll.
That's crazy. It's like The Rock claiming that.
Because last year when I met Phil Heath, when he came over to Unique, him, Flex Lewis, and Kathy Reach, they came over to do a whole seminar and really sat down with Phil afterwards, and him just outright saying, I hate the way this fitness industry is looking right now. I'm scared for these kids because all these kids are blasting gear and all that stuff. Like, I didn't start blasting gear until I put on the muscle that I couldn't put on anymore.
Yeah.
When it came to a point that like my body was literally saying you can't do no more, well, that's when I had to say okay. But that wasn't until he was competing multiple times already, and he was also well into his late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
Versus being in your late teens, early 20s, and you're blasting yourself with all this freaking gear. You're blasting your nuts away and never having kids is what you're doing.
The sad part is there's consequences they can't see just yet, right? Like you said, it comes later in your late 20s, 30s, 40s. That's when you start really seeing the consequences of those actions. And like you said, like Phil Heath said, it's one thing to do it when you've hit what you think is your genetic peak, right? Which, if you've been training for 10 plus years and you're training hard, you're probably close to it. And then you're like, all right, I need to break through this. And also doing it for competing in your actual career, by all means, full respect. And if that's what you want to do, you need to do it, right? If you want to compete with the top dogs and you're trying to be,
unfortunately,
you have to, right?
You have to take the shot
completely. But if you're doing it for, again, likes and views and 19, 20, 25, like whatever it is, just to look a little better at the beach, man, there's it's just not worth it, not one bit.
No,
in my opinion.
No, because also at the end of the day too, if you're someone who's looking to attract a woman, do you think a woman's going to want someone who is just all muscle but can't produce a family?
Right.
You know, when they're genetically, it's deep into their, the roots of their genes that they would prefer a man or someone that is dominant of that nature to be able to supply a family. Yeah, those are the women that are those are the men that women are naturally more drawn to, not the giant muscle head with a sack the size of a grape and barely able to even get a minuscule pump out.
Right.
So to the next generation, like I just pray that they eventually, well, unfortunately it's not going to happen because of how fucking stupid social media has become and how many numbnuts there are, especially around the supermarkets around, especially.
Oh my God.
That's another one we can go into right now, and we've had very similar conversations. We've DM'd this a couple of different times when it comes down to the Gary Breckas, the Bobbies, the Paul. Oh my God, all these con artists, smut bags that are just constantly fear mongering and pushing their own products also at the end of the day too. Yep. They're fear-mongering other products so that you purchase their products too as well. And especially for someone like Bobby too, who is the king of the contradictions because of him outright screaming that protein powder is shit. Protein powder is shit.
And he's selling.
And you're selling your own fucking protein powder.
It's crazy, man. And people still fall for it. That's the thing. I'm convinced, and this is kind of messed up, like you can convince anyone of anything. That's the scary part in today's world. You can convince anyone of anything.
to like the very, very closed, sheep-minded that can fall for it all and not really ask questions.
And you can lie right to their face, and they're completely okay with it. Like you said, protein powder sucks. Here's my protein powder. Like, and then they would buy it. So it's just, it's crazy.
Wait, I thought you just said protein powder sucks. Why are you selling protein powder and protein powder sucks?
The fear mongering is just really bad. And it's funny because I had a good friend. I don't know, I would say good friend, but a friend. Maybe you've seen him, Wasim. He's blown up now, like million. I think he has 1 million plus followers, and he does the same shit in supermarkets. You know, breaking down each thing. And again, there's a level of truth to some of it. Sure, ultra processed foods, not the greatest thing for your body.
Obviously,
a bunch of dyes, sure, not the greatest thing. But again, it's like we're focused on the wrong shit. Like Lane Norton says it the best.
I love
everyone
so much.
Everyone went crazy. Everyone loved when RFK was like, we're gonna take the dyes out, right? And at first I was like, yeah, this is really good. This is a step in the right process. Then I got a little deeper into it, and I heard BioLane talking about it. I'm like, wow, this is so right. Like Lane Norton said, we're focused on the wrong shit. People are eating 3,500 calories a day. It's not necessarily the dyes.
They're not even burning
the fucking
500.
Food
physically.
and then the lack of movement that's causing all this shit, and you're focused on the minute details of the dyes. And again, sure, the dyes is a step in the right process, and long term, it's probably not the greatest. You shouldn't be eating Doritos all day, anyways. But like, it's like you're focused on the wrong shit.
If you're in a grocery store telling me that an Oreo is bad for me,
right?
I want to kick that Oreo bag right out of your fucking hands and kick you down your teeth.
As long as you have a good nutrient dense whole food diet, for the most part, like that 80-20 rule, that's pretty much what I live by, and I feel fantastic. And you move good and you sleep good, your life will be much better. Versus you focus on, I got to cut out all dyes. I can't have any gluten. I can't have any dairy. Like,
I can't have seed oils.
The seed oils too. It's like,
oh my god,
you go out
like
to eat,
that one alone.
Right,
like,
it's the people who are talking about seed oils, but then they're going out to eat and eating and drinking and doing all this stuff,
vodkas,
right? And
smoking a couple cigs,
right? And packing some Zins. It's like it's like the contradictions are just so crazy.
You're afraid of what chemical? But bananas have chemicals,
right?
Everything is this has a fucking chemical in it. These have chemicals in it. Everything is a chemical. Yeah. So when they tell me, oh, it's got the chemical, what chemicals?
Right.
What chemicals? What chemical are you going to avoid? What chemicals are you trying to tell me that is completely, that is not in your vocabulary, but if we break down the full spectrum of a banana, or if we break down the full DNA of an apple, there's going to be 90% of the things that you cannot pronounce in that type of in a natural fruit. So when people say like they're scared to eat the label that they can't read, if you're eating it all the time, yeah, I understand. I can see like why you're building up so much of this shit.
Most people aren't gonna like this answer, but I think the world would be a better place if most people followed a bodybuilding kind of diet, which is mostly clean, bland foods. Again, most people aren't gonna like that. Chicken and rice, you have your veggies, your eggs, your oats. But most bodybuilders will have at least 1 to 2 cheat meals a week, right?
Yeah.
Just like myself, on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, I'm eating whatever the fuck I want. I don't care. Like, I'm having the pizza, I'm having the burger. Now, again, I'm not binging necessarily, and it can lead to
what you want.
It can lead to bad habits. But I think most people would have way better, just overall quality of life if they just followed a pretty good diet for the most part, 5-6 days out of the week, and then they have the one or two meals where they can enjoy themselves, right? And then you don't have to worry about, oh shit, this has the dye, this has the seed oil, or this has this. It's like you're worried about the smallest things that are going to move the needle versus the biggest thing, which is the actual food, the whole nutrient dense foods, your sleep and your movement. Like those 3 are the biggest things that are going to move
sleep.
Your
People underestimate sleep and how much you need your body to sleep. Your brain needs it, your body needs it, everything about your body, everything about you needs good recovery sleep. The amount of times I see people who get stuck in their state of, I can't lose weight, I can't do this. Their meals are great, their nutrition plan is great, they're active, but you're only getting an hour or 2 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
What are you like? What are we doing? Instead of you doom scrolling away in the evening, put the phone on the other side of the room, if you use it as your alarm, blast your alarm so this way it forces you to get
Or
up
just
out
get
of
an
your bed.
actual alarm clock. That's what I've done. Best habit in my entire last 3 years that I've done.
Really?
I use an Alexa.
That's what I have. I have an Alexa also. Okay.
My fiance hates it, but I love it because it's it rings and you have to say, hey Alexa, like you have to say stop in the morning. You have to talk, so it kind of wakes you up too. But I keep the phone in the other room, right? Again, one of the biggest habits, the best habits that I recommend anyone: don't go to sleep with your phone. Don't wake up with your phone. Don't go to sleep with your phone. Those two things I think can be a game changer for your sleep, because the second we get into the bed and we take the phone out, it's like, there goes an hour. There goes 2 hours. Then I'm guilty of it too, and I noticed that I'm like, I can't. And then you wake up, the alarm goes off, you pick it up, you're like, all right, you see the notifications, you're like, oh, fuck, I got this. You're like, your brain just starts going, right. It's just like, it's not a great way to wake up, and I noticed that in my sleep a ton, that I was like, this is not effective. And then when I switched to an actual alarm clock, it's just absolute game changer.
The Alexa is also good because I like it for the like the weather report in the morning.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like it's like the little things like that, because I have mine go off, and then I purposely have set 3 alarms for it within a 20-minute span of each other, because I started in my sleep, getting into a deep sleep of talking to my Alexa in the deep sleep, turning it off, and then getting fucked because I overslept. So I've now made sure to at least set 3. So if the first one, if I'm in my sleep, I turn it off, then the next one is guaranteed to at least wake me up. And the third one is to make sure that I'm officially up and out of bed. Like, that's the way I've officially learned to get myself going in the morning.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to bring up about the nutrition plan stuff, the nutrition in general. People are so focused on subtracting. You need to focus more on adding, meaning, like, yeah, if you're gonna have a bag of chips, okay, let's get some ground beef, let's get some lettuce, let's get some tomatoes, and let's scoop those chips into that.
Nachos.
Boom. Now you got, especially if bearing that you're not getting Taco Bell meat and stuff like that, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're getting real ground beef, you're cooking it yourself. You get lettuce, you get cheese, you get tomatoes, you scoop it up yourself. Boom. Like, you have a natural source. You make it even better, get protein chips. Boom. Now you can knock out multiple sources of your macros in one shot.
Those legendary chips. Love those.
Guilty.
Love those.
The ranch ones especially are those are my guilty ones.
Favorite.
Like, especially the ranch with their redefined burger bowl, and then I'll take the ranch chips and I'll use that because it's already like a pre-prepped meal for it. It's perfectly portioned, 52 grams of protein already in the bowl itself. Then the 20 grams in that, you get 70 grams of protein and under 600 calories.
That's the great thing about today's world. You can make anything somewhat healthy, right? Like, if you have a certain craving, because companies like Redefine, like Hummus Fit, like, I love them because they find ways to make the bland food tasting good and still so healthy. Like the Buffins, I have one a day.
So hooked on those.
One a day, and it
Have you tried to
keeps me
send
in
the Pop
check.
Tart one yet?
Oh, of course. I had like 7. I got like 7 of them when they first came out.
The Biscoff one. So
That was also amazing.
I went in.
There's so many good ones.
I bought one. I took a couple of bites. I walked back in. I bought 6 more.
Crack. Yeah, it's so good.
But then the cinnamon one is right there with it. The cinnamon Pop Tarts.
Even something like that, like I have a big sweet tooth, right?
Same.
I have a big sweet tooth.
Same.
But that keeps me in check because I'm like, I know I'm getting my Buffin every day. I know I'm getting that sweet tooth, and it's not like insanely high in like the sugars. It's not insanely bad. Like, great protein, so it's like perfectly can fit within your macros for most people. So I think there's no excuse nowadays.
The Ninja Creamies have really saved my ass on that one too as well.
I gotta start using it more.
Dude, it's for me. It's like, so I have the Jocko protein, which is I do 30 gram shake. I pour that in, or I'll do the Fairlife Core Power one.
That's what I do.
And then I'll do an extra scoop of Jocko protein, the vanilla one, because it is also infused with probiotics and digestive enzymes and essential amino acids. So basically getting all of that in one shot, and then I add the sugar-free Jello mix, and then occasionally I'll throw in a couple of Oreo thins, or the strawberry one, I'll throw in some strawberries in. Oh, it's 50 to 70 grams of protein and under 400 calories.
Yeah.
Like, this generation has genuinely made it so easy to hit your protein goal.
Yeah.
Like, you also got companies like Bear Bells. Bear Bell is the best protein bar on the market. I don't care what anybody says to me. Like, that is my number one protein bar because it's literally a candy bar.
I still haven't had it.
You still haven't had it yet? Oh my God! All right, that's gotta be your next fucking
I gotta
mission.
try. I don't. I mean, I don't get protein bars too often, only just because like they don't sit well with my stomach. But I'll give it a try.
They have 4 grams of fiber, so that's the reason why it hits a little different in your body because of the fiber intake in it as well. Okay. That's the one thing I do like about Bear Bells is that they listen to the public, which in regards to the belly bomb effect of what protein bars usually cause. They add 4 grams of fiber to really break down everything. It doesn't sound like a lot of fiber, but 4 grams of fiber versus 20 grams of protein and 200 calories isn't plenty enough fiber for it to break down.
Right.
Now, if you're looking at a 40 to 50 gram, like obviously that's way too dense of a protein, but you need to get at least 10 to 15 grams of fiber to break that down then. But 4 grams of fiber for 20 grams of protein is one of the best protein bars on the market. In the morning, this is usually because I don't really have a lot of time. So I have the sausage, egg white, and cheese wraps that I have at home. Quickly throw it in the microwave. It's 150 calories, 11 grams of protein. And then I have usually 2 of those, so about 300 calories, 22 grams of protein. Then I'll drink one of the Fairlife 30-gram protein shakes, which is 150 calories, 30 grams of protein. So already right off the bat, in the middle of the day, like right before I even step foot into my gym, I already got well over 50 grams of protein coming into my body. Yeah. And then later on throughout the day, it's just the same thing. It's just finding more ways to constantly stack up ways that you can bring in protein, like the Fiber One snacks also. Fiber One snacks have, they're only 4 grams of protein, but 7 grams of fiber and only 70 calories. So in between your protein meals, if you're having like 1 or 2 of those throughout the day, then you, along with obviously fruit and veggies and all the other natural sources of fiber, you're really going to help your body clear out everything that you're also building up. Because that's another thing that a lot of people aren't realizing is this generation is also dealing with a significantly rising case of colon cancer. So reason being because not a lot of people are getting their fiber.
Yeah.
So recently, over the last 6 months, I've really only focused on my fiber, to be fully transparent. Like, and since I have, like, I've noticed a genuine difference between my energy levels and the way my body feels. And you can get your fiber sources from the Fiber One bars. You can get it from fruit. You get it from veggies, chia seeds, flax seeds. There's so many other ways. Like when people say that, oh, I can't get 30 grams of fiber in, well, then drink 2 Ollipops, and 2 Ollipops is 18 grams.
Yeah.
Metamucil is perfect when my sister's on that.
Game changer. Like, I was shocked at just like you said, energy levels, but everything. Like it was the
bloating, the way your body just reacts to food.
Yeah, it was wild to me because I wasn't taking, because personally I don't eat a lot of veggies only because they just don't sit well with my stomach. Like besides like cucumbers, carrots, but like the deep greens, like the broccoli and the asparagus. I did that all during bodybuilding prep. I was not well. So I just cannot. So I just cut them out completely, but I eat a lot of fruit, like 4 to 6 a day.
What are your go-to fruits usually?
Banana for sure. Well, in my smoothie, I'll have a banana, a whole banana, and mixed frozen berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. So that's like 3 servings of fruit right there. I'll have usually like an orange or a mango or more blueberries throughout the day. And then I'll always have fruit after dinner. That's my hack. To curb the sweet tooth is fruit after dinner.
See, I love frozen fruit. I love having a bowl, I have a big ass bag of frozen blueberries that usually in the evening. Code. Yeah, usually in the evening is like just take like a whole cup full and then just munch them down. If I want to add a little more protein, a little bit of Greek yogurt, throw it on top, and then just mush that all together. Or like I said before, the Ninja Creamies, and then with the strawberry with a little bit of blueberries and strawberries in it too. I know they say you're not supposed to throw fruit in with it at the same time. I never listen. I haven't had anything. I haven't had any issues yet. Oh, it's fucking perfect because you're also getting the extra fiber intake from the fruits, plus the protein, plus the sweet tooth killing. It's all that one shot of just like, wow, I just killed the whole pint, and I don't really feel as guilty. Because when you're eating it, you're just like, this does not make sense.
It's a lot of volume too, right? Especially if you have a big appetite, you need a lot of volume to eat. So yeah, completely got it.
When I went from my leanest to my heaviest over the my healthiest over the last year and a half, from December 2023 till June 2024, I was pounding down 5,000 calories a day.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine.
Dude, like
I eat like a quarter of that. I eat like 2,000.
I was so sick to my stomach. Like every day, I'm just trying to get down food. 5,000 calories a day, and you could visibly see the difference just in my face alone, where it's just like you went from a crazy lean face to like a little wider.
You're probably eating every hour, every 2 hours. You have
every 2 hours.
It's crazy.
It was every 2 hours.
It was a full-time job.
In the morning and in the evenings, it was a shout out to Muscle Sport. The shake that I got from them is a mass gainer.
Oh.
Yeah, the mass gainer they have, I love it because it's also infused with MCT oils, so
nice.
It's not really as hard on the stomach as most mass gainers are.
Mass gainers can be tough.
So it's 8 scoops.
Holy shit.
1,500 calories.
Oh my God.
50 grams of protein, 5 grams of creatine, over 300 carbs. Yeah,
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because my thing was, I was completely shredded, lean,
right.
7%, but I was weak as shit. I did not feel good. I looked great, but I did not feel good.
No.
But I really wanted to get back to my 230 size, but at a healthier weight.
Right.
Creeped all the way back up. I got a little too comfortable. I got to 248. Wow. Yeah. It went from 192 lean.
That's a big jump, yeah.
Yeah, to that in about 6 months.
God damn.
Just constantly. But the strength I got from it,
right.
I've maintained now throughout this last cut over the last, this not really, I don't even want to call it a cut. Now this is like where I want to maintain. Like now I'm officially at maintenance for the last 7 months or so, which is just anywhere between 27 to 3,200 calories. Anywhere in between there, minimum though of 245 grams of protein.
Nice.
Minimum. Like that's where I feel that if I have all that done within a day, my energy the next day is not crashing.
Yeah.
I don't feel weak. I can still swing as heavy as I want to swing, and I also sleep good.
Yeah.
Because when I was at my leanest, I was barely sleeping also.
Yeah.
When I was at my heaviest, I also had a harder time sleeping because of all the food you're processing. Well, how many times you gotta go to the freaking bathroom throughout the night?
Yeah.
That's another thing that don't really, you'll put two and two together when I first started doing the whole weight gain, which was, damn, I didn't realize how many times I was gonna be using the bathroom all fucking night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once your body fully adapts to that after 2 or 3 months of consistency, 2 or 3 months of consistency, not 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 weeks, no, 2 or 3 months of consistency is when my body finally started to feel like it was adapting to the 45 to 5,000 calorie a day.
Yeah.
What screwed me over was the minimal movement I did afterwards. Was when, God rest his soul, was when my good friend Mike passed away, and I lost all motivation for a month.
Right.
So I didn't really move for a month, and then, well, guess what? I was still fucking eating like I was. And I immediately saw exactly how these people are able to gain so much weight so fast, and I was like, holy shit. Wow, I really fell right back into a pattern that everyone, typical America is going through right now.
Yeah.
So now what that did was also for me give me the ability to relate even harder to a lot more of the clientele and a lot more of the general public, where I've gone through this weight transformation constantly.
Right.
But that latest one of just really feeling like stagnant mentally and not being able to do much, but still eating like the way I was. Oh, yeah, all right. I can relate a little bit to more where you guys are at mentally, but I also know you can still get yourself up and moving.
Yeah.
Even just walking.
Yeah.
Like I have the collapsible treadmill, minimum 10,000 steps a day, minimum. Like even just that alone, you just do that basic stuff, you'd be surprised. You genuinely, close the door a little bit over here. You'd genuinely be surprised by, well, not you obviously, but the public would genuinely be surprised by how much can change just by you adding even just a simple motion of walking so many steps.
Yeah, that's something that I added in the last, I guess, 2-3 years, is just walking more. Well, of course, now having a dog, it just kind of automatically does that. But even before that, just adding in more walks throughout the day, game changer. Not just for like the actual physical part, but the mental side. Getting outside, getting some sun, simple stuff like that, that can really help. Again, with the sleep as well, too. Right?
It's circadian rhythm, setting that in, putting that in order.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said on the part where, when you were at your leanest, but most people forget, most people don't realize, especially when you see on social media, you see these people under 10%, under 5% body fat. They usually feel like absolute shit. And I can relate, because when I was bodybuilding prepping and I was deep into 4% body fat, I was the
4% body fat?
4.5 is the leanest I've done.
Jesus Christ.
4.3, something like that. It was probably a little off because we did the caliber measurement, so it's not like 100%. But
I know, but still, you get under 5%.
I saw veins and things that I've never seen in my body before, but I was lean. But I also felt the worst I've ever felt. Sleep was shot, sex drive was shot, hormones were shot. Everything was just tanking. My performance in the gym was fucking destroyed. But if you look at it if I took my shirt off, you're like, holy shit, this guy looks incredible.
You must take fully.
Right. It's like, wow, like you must feel good. Like this feels good. I'm like, nope, this feels fucking terrible. Right. So like finding that balance for every single person for their body can look a lot different, right? For someone it could be, hey, they could be a healthy 12%, they feel great. For other person, 15%, whatever it is, but like finding what works well for you and not really realizing, oh, just because he looks like that on social media means that he probably feels the way he looks. It's usually the opposite.
Yeah, and it's someone who is also a very notable social media figure in the fitness area, Brad Carpenter. I'm not familiar with him also.
Yeah, I've seen him.
He was someone who talked about when he was in his fitness, the male modeling stage, and he was at his craziest leanest, and he said, like, I woke up every day depressed and feeling like shit.
I had hungry.
It's like, it's at the end of the day, I keep saying at the end of the day, so I'll enjoy this fucking conversation. But the reality is of that situation, like, you're so malnourished. Like, yeah, your body looks like it's lean because there's nothing else for it to feed off of. Like, your body doesn't have any other fat to use as energy. Yep. And at that point, you're burning more muscle, and then you're doing more good for your body to even live itself naturally. Yep. And it's sad because there's people who think that that's the natural way you're supposed to always look. No. Like, what people used to think in the early 2000s was the most unattainable physique was Hugh Jackman in the original X-Men. Yeah. Now people say that, oh, he's skinny fat then. Yeah. It's like, are we fucking kidding me?
It's changed. Lots have changed.
I would still, like, if I can have a decent amount of, you know, what he had over there and feel great, I absolutely would. But the way it is in my genetics, it's like genetically I was always the big guy. So when I was at my leanest, no, did not feel great. When I got a little bigger, now I feel great. Don't care about the way my body naturally looks at the end of the day. I'm still leaner. I still have decent amount of, you know, obviously, decent layer of body fat. Yeah. Sitting at 14.5%, but I feel my strongest. Yeah. And I also tend to also have my waistline still be the same though. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit more fluffier, but I am also feeling my strongest, my healthiest, my most mobile too as well. Yeah. That's another thing too. People don't understand when you're the older that you get, your grip starts to fade, your body becomes less mobile, you become more tight. So catering not just towards making your body looking good, but making it feel good. Yeah. Like, you're somebody who also preaches the mobility aspect as well. Oh, yeah. Some of my favorite videos that you do are actually the ones for lower back pain. The people who are, if you're dealing with lower back pain, do this specific movement. Because a lot of those stuff I've done because it's really helped out. Because I have a wedge deformity in my lower left lumbar that was, when I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with, and I wasn't able to really ever get it fixed. There's no real fix behind it. So there's always this constant aggravating a nuisance in my lower back. But it's not constantly in pain. It's just more like, now it's like after I started doing the mobility aspect and I started really, you know, taking the time to loosen up my back and taking the time to spend 5-10 minutes a day stretching in the morning, 5-10 minutes in the evening stretching. Like, if you can spend 5 to 10 minutes on your phone, you can spend 5 to 10 minutes stretching. Put on one of the freaking YouTube videos and then stretch to that. You know, you'll thank your body more. I thank myself more than ever just because I genuinely don't feel much pain at all anymore. Yeah.
No, I think that mobility piece is so important, and I didn't start prioritizing it until kind of when I had to, and when I realized, when I was told, hey, you have these imbalances, you have these deficits that need to be worked on, everything started to change. And then, of course, going to PT school, learning a little bit more deeper into that, and applying those same principles with my clients, like, it's been absolute game changer. And now I'm just like, yeah, it's just as important as the strength training, because again, if you just do all the strength training, great, you might be strong, but you're probably going to be tight and restricted and be achy. But if you only do mobility training, then you got no strength to make up for it. So the combination of both And even a little bit, like you said, 5-10 minutes a day can go a long way, right?
Yeah.
And sure, there's a lot of conflicting studies and evidence on stretching doesn't do anything, and I'm not crazy about static stretching in general, but I'll still incorporate it because honestly, it feels good in the moment. And sure, it may not be doing anything specifically like changing my actual muscle length, but it still feels good. And if it feels good to you, I encourage you to do it as well, right? And if there's certain mobility things or strengthening or stretching things that feel good for you, just do it. Because again, it's only going to facilitate more good movement.
You made a good point with the static stretching, because I'm also not the biggest fan of static stretches. I'm a big advocate for just overall mobility training in general. Like, not just to the people who think of mobility training is just doing a cobra to downward dog and doing 90-90s. Like, no, that's not mobility training.
Yeah.
Like, when I realized that my body was really locking up due to all the years of neglecting my injuries and years of just saying, I'll take care of this later. Maybe I'll get a surgery down the road, or I'll get a replacement down the road. It's like, why? Right. Why am I going to put myself in the mentality of like, I'll just get a replacement down the road? And why can't I just have the body that I have now and just keep it strong? Or why do I have to keep it in my mind that, I could get a replacement if need be? Yeah. What if God forbid something happens and like there's never going to be a replacement that could be fit for my body? So take care of what you got now. In the long run, you'll thank yourself more just by sacrificing a little extra time to make yourself loose.
Yeah.
And not saying sitting there for 30, 40 minutes to just sit there and just, to do some of this shit.
Right.
No, actually sit down and fold one knee in, bring it up, fold the other in, bring it up. Like there alone. My knees pop like crazy now because of how much I've been able to move, but also it notices how much gaps and how much spaces I have within my knees and my joints that I need to address later. Well, need to constantly stay addressing and making sure that they're staying strong and not allowing the micro tears in the LCL and the ACL to fully get compromised.
Yeah, especially in my niche. Every time I ask a new client, like a bodybuilder or weightlifter, I'm like, so you doing any mobility training? Most of the time the answer is no. Right, or it's like, hey, I saw some of your stretches on Instagram and I saved it, but most of the time the answer is no. So it's often neglected in my niche a lot because nobody has really preached a lot of it. Right, you don't see a lot of the old school bodybuilders doing mobility work. Now you do start seeing a little bit more like Sebum, doing a lot more thoracic work, the cars that he was doing. Like I got that video sent to me like 5 times. They're like, look, he's doing it. This is amazing. Because I preach cars, FRC, like all that. Yeah. That's like my main form of mobility training. So it's great to see it now happening. And the shift is definitely becoming a little bit more, but it's still so neglected.
Yeah, and if I really strongly feel that if the kids are properly taught at a younger age to not only just prioritize the weight training like we're prioritizing it to be now, but prioritizing the mobility aspect as well. Their lifts are going to get stronger, their bodies are going to develop better, their muscles are going to grow better, more efficiently, their joints are not going to develop as many issues as when we were growing up in the fitness industry and growing up in the gym, and the amount of reckless dumb shit that we were doing and the amount of little tears and all those things that we had to go through. Yeah, it's all the stuff that they can avoid if they're just taught at a proper age, which is another reason why I wanted to have someone like you on, because I can also then take conversations of our clips when I go talk to schools and go talk to the kids, and I can refer to this episode and refer to people that saying like, listen, hear from an expert himself, of someone who has been not only just in your shoes, but someone who is also in the industry, both as a trainer and as someone who is someone training themselves, and someone who is also a legitimate PT that cares about your time in the gym, who doesn't just care about you feeling good and making your body move, just cares about your actual performance as the human body in general. Yeah. So to that, like I said, I've been a major fan of your work, and I've been a major fan of what you promote, and I really wanted to have you on here for a lot of the conversations that we had today. Real quick before we wrap things up, 2 questions I normally I ask a bunch, but I'm kind of just like narrowing it down to 2 main questions. One of them, what is one piece of advice that you could give to anybody? Doesn't matter if it's health related, doesn't matter if it's fitness related, financial related, whatever it may be, what is one piece of advice that you can give to anybody that may be listening to this?
Move your body.
Kind of figured that was going to be.
It has to be that. It has to be that because it's changed my life, and I see the impact it has, and I see the impact that it has if you don't do it. So, and I think that can carry into everything else as well, right? And I know you said it could be anything else, but move your body. Once I prioritized the gym and got into fitness and really took my body into the next level, even translating that into my business, financial, relationships, everything else, you show up better from what I've seen, right? So indirectly, it's helped everything else. So if I gave advice for something else, I don't think it would have like been perfectly in line with that. So move your body will kind of indirectly help everything else versus the other way around. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean, and I totally agree. And the last question, what is one goal that you have for yourself right now?
Right now is to continue to grow my business and create more impact in this world. Yeah.
I like that.
Really.
I like that a lot. So real quick, to the camera, share your socials, where they get in contact with you, how they can get an appointment with you, and all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. The handle is dr.saransh_Kapoor. And then you can always shoot me a DM there for any appointments or sessions that you want to book, whether in person or online.
Yeah, I'll be sure to post his Instagram down below. And brother, man, like I said, this has been a conversation I've been wanting to have for a long time. Truly do appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
Never a problem. Whenever you want to come back on, if there's anything you want to promote, you're more than welcome to. This place is, safe place for you to come by whenever you want to.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
appreciate you.
Of course.
See you guys on the next one.